anybody who's interested in working with folks from the Black community should have an awareness and an understanding that what's coming in the door, what's coming into the session. And then I think within our community, I think it's important because where there's a lot of silence or there's not a lot of permission to grieve, or first of all to seek out support, you know, for when you're bereaved. Because many of us in our communities, we have a loss, we have a debt, we had the funeral, you know, and then somehow everything is back together okay, and there's no time and permission given for healing that loss. And so I think where it could be important, where this video could be important is as a tool to encourage folks in the community to say, you know what, it's not a bad thing, it's not a reflection on your mental state or your ability to cope and function if you're seeking out grief and bereavement support. It's very important that you know that it's okay to ask for help and to seek out help.
My loss is my son, Rodin. Rodin was 22 years old. Rodin migrated from Trinidad and he came to Canada. And 4 months after Rodin arrived here, at first, when he first came, everything was really good. I was so happy to have him here, and I thought at that time I made it the right choice by bringing Rodin to Canada and everything like that. So it was a one big happy family within his arrival and everything. And then 4 months of July, within the time that he was here, Rodin was murdered. He didn't really know him because it was only 4, so he went out to have a little bit of. He was out with his friends and my sister and thing like that, and trying to find him. First of all, he was a child who really wanted to explore in Canada here, and that was one of the places he wanted to know that he can travel on his own and go from point A to point B and everything like that. So he went out to this place that night to have at a club to have a little bit of fun, and next thing you know, I got this phone call like 3 in the morning that my son was shot, and within the results to that, he didn't survive his wound. He actually died from the gunshot wound that he received.
When I was 11 years old, both of my parents were killed in a car accident. So the loss has been approximately 15 years since my parents were killed. Prior to my parents being killed in the car accident, I had a very good, very stable, very loving environment. I had both my parents in addition to my grandmother, who were my primary caregivers. And then overnight, my parents were young, relatively young, 31 and 34. They were killed in a car accident, and my world changed drastically overnight. To children, your parents are the foundation. You can't imagine your life going on and existing without having your parents. And that was ripped away from me in the twinkling of an eye. And I remember when I heard the news that I just wanted to be with my mom. I just wanted to be with my dad. So the thing that kept resonating with me was that I wanted to kill myself, because at that time I felt that is the only way that I will be able to be with my mom and dad again. That's the only way that I will be able to be safe and okay again, is to kill myself. I remember the day the phone call came to the house, and I was anxiously awaiting for my parents to come home, because I knew they went away for the long weekend, and I was expecting them to be home on the Monday. And so I was really, really excited, because I was supposed to get all these new clothes because they went away to the States to go shopping. And then we got this phone call, and I was at home with my grandmother, because like I said before, I was raised by 3 parents, my mother, my father, and my grandmother. And my grandmother just started to cry And that was really, really strange to me because I've never seen or heard my grandmother cry outside of praying. So when she is crying, she's praying. And so I went downstairs and she was just taking information and just weeping and weeping and weeping. And then she came off the phone, and the first thing she did was she started to pray. Just pray for strength. And she was just praying and praying and praying. And then she got up and she said to me, "Baby, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your mom and dad were killed in a car accident." And so immediately I was broken. I was crushed. I felt extremely... I can't even put words to describe the pain that I felt and the pain that I still do feel. And so I thought at that time, in order to rid myself of the pain of losing my mom and dad and to be with them again, that I should kill myself. And that would be the only way for me to feel whole again, feel as if I had that sense of stability again, was to kill myself, because I had thought at that age that that would bring me back to a place of happiness, of not feeling and experiencing the sudden, the instantaneous pain that I had felt, that I was not supposed to feel, that was imposed upon me because someone was a negligent driver. So yeah, that was my response.
Actually, 10 years ago, my husband passed away from cancer. He was a healthy, went to the doctor, never knew anything was wrong with him. And just went one day and found out he had cancer. And he lasted for about 6 months. And it's been really hard because I had 2 young kids. I had a son who was 2, and I had a daughter who was 5. So it was very devastating for me and the children. He was a great father. He was always there with the children. He took them to the daycare. He did chores at home. He changed diapers. He was a great father and a great husband. So having all that taken away from me and the children was very difficult. So I'm just trying to move on now, trying to do as best as I can.
My father died in 2004, February 20th, 2004, of cancer. He was 84 years old. I was 54 years old. And a lot of what went up before he died, he died at home with the family. My brothers, my mother, we were all there. And prior to his death, the month before, it was really a time of him coming to peace and doing the things that were necessary before he died. And mostly he was really concerned about who would look after his wife, my mom. So he made a lot of arrangements around that. And the main thing around the loss for me is that I'm the only girl in a family with 3 brothers. And with my dad, I was always daddy's girl. And as a friend once said to me after her father died, it's like I feel like I'm nobody's little girl anymore. And that's what I miss. I miss my dad because of that.